Hi, welcome back to my garden. This week I'm going to provide an overview, a map of the territory, so to speak, of the Master of Self Actualisation program. It's my belief that an overwhelmingly large number of people in our modern world suffer from, to a greater or lesser extent, a deep feeling of dissatisfaction or frustration, perhaps. That in some sense they feel that their life doesn't amount to all that it should do, perhaps even that they've failed. And I think there's a way out. And the way out of that is not necessarily in changing your job or your fundamental human relationships. It's actually in simply finding something that you love doing and doing it as much as you possibly can, whilst not reneging on those responsibilities. And not just doing it as much as you can, but doing it whilst pursuing mastery of that activity. And in mastering the activity, you don't just gain a sense of satisfaction that you've learned how to do something well, but you actually master yourself on a much deeper level. So that's the basic premise. And in a nutshell, what I'm suggesting we need to do is follow our dreams. Now, that's become a little cliched. Should we pursue passion or simply double down on the hard work? And of course, these aren't mutually exclusive, but I do believe that we need to find activities that we profoundly enjoy doing. And in doing those activities, we enter into that holy grail of mental states, the state of flow, when time stops, when you are totally at one with whatever it is that you are doing. And this is how we're meant to be. And dare I say it, an increasingly complex world that we find ourselves operating in makes it hard sometimes to do those activities. Now, at the very beginning, the first stumbling block that you might encounter is simply not having something that you love doing. Having reached a point in your life where you find yourself at a loss as to what you should be doing. And I believe that in examining our childhood, we may find clues and indeed discover those things that we are truly meant to do. And I want to avoid the question of destiny or being some sort of created being that was put here with a plan, that you were meant to be a pianist. Now, let's put all those kind of more metaphysical concerns to one side and just say that there are activities that, because of the way your life has unfolded, allow yourself to feel totally realized when you're doing it. And if you aren't sure what those are and have delved deep into your childhood and still seem to be at a loss, although I don't think you will be, then simply looking at things that you enjoy from perhaps the outside looking in and having a go and trying to learn how to do them may be the way forward. And if you commit to that, then in quite a short period of time, you will have developed the skills to at least be able to do whatever that activity is to a sort of basic competence level. And perhaps you will discover that which in which you are most truly realized. If not, well, after a suitable interval, a suitable digression, you dive back in and try something else. And that is your first quest, really. Once you've found that thing, however, the thing that you truly love doing, many of us pull back and we hold ourselves back. The much used term, self-sabotage, very much becomes a thing, gets in the way. This is the sort of destructive capacity that we have inside of us, which the writer Stephen Pressfield calls resistance. And it's very much an internally driven means to stop yourself tackling things that are new and consequently fully expressing yourself and growing as a human being. It is the way we find ourselves trapped in a comfort or comforting zone and fail to, using the more grandiose term, self-actualize. So, what forms does this evil, nefarious being, resistance, take? Well, I think that the common areas in which we self-sabotage, the first and perhaps most overwhelming one, is that we get caught up with the talent myth. We say that, well, I'd like to be a guitarist or a singer or an artist or an actor or an entrepreneur or a fit, healthy person, whatever it might be, but I just lack the ability, the genetic makeup. I am like this because, my genes hold me back. And in terms of creative performance, one will tend to say, I lack the talent. And I think this is largely nonsense. Not that talent is a nonsense. Of course, we're all different, and those differences collectively make up what may be called our talent. But really that has nothing to do with our ability to perform at a high level. And that has everything to do with the pursuit of mastery, application, and time. So the talent myth holds us back. Another area which I think sort of stands out in the realm of self-sabotage is the idea that, I could do this, but it's too late. If only I'd started when I was younger, but I'm past my prime. And this too is, if you look at overwhelming number of examples, and YouTube is a wonderful provider of these, age is no obstacle. Of course, there are limits as to perhaps, certainly in the physical realm, that the ceiling of our potential performance, but that is not the same as saying there is a limit to our ability to master something or become exceptionally proficient at it. Those are quite different matters. And of course there are also limits in terms of how much time we have available to pursue this path of mastery. But the sooner we start, the further along the path we will get. And quite simply, by pursuing a mastery path, even if we start very much later in life, it's amazing how much time we do have available. But that brings me on to another of the most common of the fallback excuses. That, well, I'd love to be able to do this, but I don't know how, and there's no one around to show me, so I'm kind of doomed. You know, I could try learning to play guitar on my own, but, you know, what's the chance of that happening? And there's no one around here to teach me. Well, it's an interesting one, but in our modern age, if you've got a phone, you've got an instructor. So, quite simply, the excuse doesn't hold up at all. And if you say, okay, there are these how-to videos and instructional possibilities, and actually some of them are free, but I just don't really know where to start. Well, again, on a meta level, there are how-to videos. So the ability to learn is at your fingertips, literally, when one considers the possibility that a simple smartphone offers each and every one of us. So those are a few of the excuses. I guess another one that people will trot out is they can see how all this is possible, and they accept that. But they'll say, well, what's the point? You know, I'd really like to become a self-portrait artist. All I want to do is look at and study myself and learn how to reflect what I see with a simple pencil and paper. But no one's going to buy drawings of me done by myself. Perhaps a ridiculous example, but never mind. It'll serve our purposes, serve my purpose. The point is that even if there is no kind of end validation in sight, there is no commercial possibility, there is no applause waiting for you at the end, so be it. The real purpose of pursuing this mastery path is to gain a deeper, more fundamental understanding of yourself, and is to find something which becomes, in essence, a meditative activity. That when you are doing that thing, you are fully realized. So frankly, whether there are rewards or applause is neither here nor there. The true value in this is in the journey itself. A bit of a cliche, but there we are. So those are some of the areas where we hold ourselves back. The truth of the matter is, there are things that we can do where we will be fully realized. We can learn how to do them. It is not too late. It is valuable in and of itself. And it is a journey that you need to pursue. Of course, I've left out one of the obvious areas where we deny ourselves the thing that we most need and want to do. And that is, we say, well, yes, I agree with you, but my commitments. But the truth of the matter is, no matter how committed and responsible and overwrought with the pressures of everyday living you might be, all this can be accomplished with as little as 15 minutes a day. And you might say, but that won't get me very far. But I would beg to differ. Imagine you are 50 and you did that. You managed to clock 100 hours a year. Well, that's 3,000 hours. And in 3,000 hours, by the time you're 80, you will be an astonishing performer. And I think also when you go down that path, you will discover that you have a lot more than 15 minutes a day. So, nothing new today, but I just thought I'd lay it all out. The sort of total overview of the Master of Self Actualisation. I trust this video finds you well, that life is treating you as it should, and that you are full of joy. Until next week, from a sunny Brazil, ciao.